Hi everyone! Continuing my story about the best tomato varieties that I've grown this season, which I want to share with you. Growing tomatoes is like a journey where year after year you discover something new, beautiful, unusual, something you've never seen before, but that is definitely worth seeing. The Tomato Express is on its way to the best tomato varieties of the season. Take your seats, we're about to start. The first tomato variety to be discussed in today's review is Thorburn's Terracotta. It is an interesting strain that immediately attracts attention with its unusual appearance and has more than a century of history. The variety was first introduced in the James Thurburn catalog in New York in 1893. You have to admit, the opportunity to grow a variety with such a history does not always happen. The plant is tall, reaching the 1.7 meter or 5 feet 7 inches mark by early August. Tomatoes of a brown-orange color and look like a brown chicken egg or a giant olive with small green shoulders near the stalk. I personally really liked it. There are about 8 of them in each bunch, and overall the plant is fairly productive and tolerates the heat quite well. The skin is thin, and you don't need to tie up the bunches. The plant showed the best result when formed in 2 stems. The weight of the fruit started at 4 ounces or 118 grams and went up to 4.5 ounces or 130 grams, and all my curiosity was directed to what awaited me inside. On the cut, I found a surprisingly beautiful olive color. The tomato is very bright and somewhat reminiscent of the cherry evil olive variety. There are fruity tones in the flavor. The tomatoes are sweet, with pleasant acidity, with some exotic flavor, and it's definitely different from what I've tasted before. Thorburn's Terracotta flavor definitely made me feel good. Unfortunately, Thorburn's company went bankrupt during the global financial crisis a little over 100 years ago in 1921, and almost all of their varieties were lost without a trace. But all the more precious is the fact that some of them have been saved, and Thorburn's Terracotta is one such work of art that made it through the centuries. If you like yellow beefsteak tomatoes, the following variety will definitely please you. The Elfie tomato is an indeterminate variety that produces large yellow-ribbed beefsteak tomatoes. The exact origin of the variety is still unknown, but it was found out that the seeds of this tomato came from Kentucky, a plant with strong growth power, strongly foliated, requiring little maintenance. I had to stop it at 6 feet 7 inches or 2 meters by the end of August. The variety is productive, the bunches are heavy, and it would probably be better to tie them up, but I did fine without it. Tomatoes are large and beautiful. There were no small fruits, which I'm quite satisfied with, especially since I have enough cherry tomatoes for this purpose. The fruit weighed over 14 ounces or 400 grams, and sometimes even 1 pound 2 ounces or 500 grams, which was even more than I expected. And all I had to do was taste these tomatoes. Making the cut, I saw a nice juicy flash of a bright yellow-orange color. The taste was fruity, sweet with no noticeable acidity, and the tomatoes had a juicy marmalade flash. In addition, tomatoes of this variety stored well, in spite of the thin skin. And for a beefsteak tomato, this is definitely a big advantage. That's why there are several reasons to choose the Elfie tomato: good storability, yield, and taste. Tell me, how could I resist growing Virginia sweets tomatoes after so many positive reviews about them? If you ask me if it deserves all those words, I'll tell you yes, 100% it does. Absolutely one of the best bicolors ever. Virginia Sweets is an heirloom from Virginia in the eastern United States. The plant is tall, reaching a height of 6 feet 3 inches or 1.9 meters by mid-August. The tomatoes are large and beautiful with a bright golden pink color. Getting ahead of myself, I'll say right away that this is the variety that every fan of bicolor tomatoes must try. After all, it is not for nothing that the seeds of this tomato have have been passed from hand to hand for generations, and now Virginia Sweets has found its popularity not only in the United States, but all over the world. In my case, the maximum weight of the fruit was almost 1 pound 8 ounces, or 675 grams. At the same time, almost all of them were large, and inside, the picture reminds me of pineapple flesh with pink lines, and the more the tomatoes ripen, the more pink tones will be present inside. There are few seeds, and a pleasant flavor can be smelled even from a distance. The tomatoes are very juicy, with a terrific explosive flavor, sweet with a slight acidity, very tender, with a lot of juice. Probably one of the most delicious bicolors I've ever tasted. The Virginia Sweets tomato seems to have all the best qualities of the yellow and pink varieties at once. I would encourage you to grow Virginia Sweets next to the Oaxacan Jewel I told you about earlier, because in my opinion, they are the perfect tomato combination. Now let's move on to Italy, where, as you probably already know, tomatoes are just as popular as they are in America, a country that is the birthplace of many wonderful varieties. And the first Italian variety I want to talk about is called Riccio di Parma, widespread in the 19th century thanks to Carlo Rognoni, a passionate farmer from Parma, who first introduced tomato jam to the world. The Riccio di Parma tomato is very strong, with thick stems and a great desire to grow as tall as possible. Plants reached a height of 6 feet 7 inches or 2 meters in early August. The fruits are very large, red in color, strongly ribbed, and the plant is hung with tomatoes from top to bottom. This variety was used in the canning industry to make tomato paste, which is not surprising given its high yield. When Italian agriculture in the 80s of the 20th century almost completely switched to hybrids suitable for mechanical harvesting, the Riccio di Parma variety could have disappeared, but has survived thanks to the efforts of some farmers and amateur gardeners. Tomato weights started at 1 pound 5 ounces or 600 grams and approached 1 pound 12 ounces or 800 grams. So in terms of size, it had few competitors. I cannot say it was very tasty for eating fresh. It tasted more like a classic tomato. And I had better ones, but for processing, it was a winner. Riccio di Parma is ideal for making various dense sauces, juice and tomato paste. And thanks to its yields, you'll never be short of tomatoes. That's why this variety is so appreciated in Italy. From Italy, we go to Poland, where tomato breeding is a booming field. While most breeders try to give their creations some unusual names, Anna Jankowska, also known as Kazula, doesn't bother at all and just give them numbers, and I like this style. She has many such varieties, but today I want to focus on one of them, a tomato called Kazula 179 Zebra Zolta, indeterminate variety with round fruits of unusual color. The plant is strong and reached a height of 6 feet 7 inches or 2 meters in August. Tomatoes are yellow with green stripes, similar in appearance to the yellow-green zebra. That's why it is named like this. Kozula 179 Zebra Zolta is an exotic from the tomato world. The more I was anticipating tasting such beauty, the average weight of the fruit approached and sometimes exceeded 10 ounces or 300 grams. Now let's cut them and look at what's inside. Tomatoes of unusual color both outside and inside. Juicy dark green yellow flesh. It reminds me of the dwarf Ulur ochre tomato, and to my greatest pleasure, the taste was rich, bright, with a pleasant acidity and exotic fruit flavor. After trying a little, you'll definitely want more. Not without reason, it is considered one of the most delicious tomatoes from the Anna Jankowska line, and I'm 100% ready to confirm that it really is very tasty. So that was today's journey through the tomato world. If you like this journey, don't forget to subscribe and, of course, love tomatoes, grow tomatoes. This is the Lucky Garden channel, and see you soon.